What's up? Welcome everybody back to Tuesday Night Live. Thank you for joining me. This is going to be a fun, interesting one. We've got, in the United States, we've got the election going on right now. There's still a lot of people out voting, but wanted to come on here and just go live with you guys and hang out and not talk about politics at all. We can talk about running. We can talk about anything you want. Throw it in the chat. But yeah, we're not going to be talking about politics tonight. We've got some people here already. I see Mandy's already in the house. Happy Tuesday evening, everyone. Thanks, Mandy, for joining. So I'm going to throw on a little intro video, just like always. And we're going to allow a few more people to show up, and then we're just going to get this going. If you've got questions, comments, anything you want, throw it in the chat. This is you guys' show. You run the show. You ask the questions, and we'll just go from there. So with that said, let's roll the intro and get this started. All right. Well, we've got Chase the Summit in the house. What is politics? Who knows? Doesn't matter tonight. Doesn't matter for the next however long we're on here live. Platts 33 is in the house. Hello, what's up? We got Liam McNeil in here. Happy Tuesday. The Leafy Bean Yoga. Happy Tuesday. Drew is in the house. Thank you, Drew, for showing up. And we got Justin B. Can I get a follow on Strava? Sure. I don't know, I guess. And Robert Diaz is here. Good Tuesday evening, y'all. I don't know why I said y'all. I can't read, apparently. Mandy says, I've got a 50K on Saturday and I'm nervous that I'm not nervous. Anyone doing this race in Dubois? I don't know how you say that. Iowa. It's the Mines of Spain. Oh my gosh, I've heard of that. Yeah, that's the Mines of Spain. There's a 100-miler that actually, I think, didn't that just happen? Like maybe the same week as No Business, like maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago. I think there was a 100-miler there called the Mines of Spain. Anyway. So anybody that's here watching, if you've done that race or you've been to that area, definitely let Mandy know what's up. Wanted to give a shout out to, there's been 4 new members that have joined the channel recently. If you guys don't know what that is, it's just a way that you can support me and support this channel. There's a little join button in the bottom of the video, but wanted to shout out Thor Runs, who just joined this week, Michael Krautz, Brano Marana, and Patrick Forsyth. Thank you guys. The 4 of you just joined this week. So thank you. That means a whole lot to me. I know that, there's a lot of ways that we can be using our money, and there's like supporting creators is one of the cool ways. Like there's a couple of people that I support on Patreon and as well as YouTube membership. So it really means a lot to me, those of you guys that just signed up this week. So thank you to everybody that's a member of this channel. That's pretty awesome. We got Runderestimated. Hello from New Zealand. What's up? Is it Wednesday in New Zealand yet? Yeah, maybe. Thor runs. So excited not to talk about politics. Hey, I just shouted you out too. So awesome. Welcome back. Adam Tice, happy Aussie Wednesday. Ryan, what's up? John Truelove is in the house. Shout out from Terre Haute. Aaron Townsend, hello from South Texas. Amigo, what's up? And Michael Krauts, what's up from St. Louis? Awesome. So we got a couple members in the chat right now. That's awesome. Thank you guys for joining. So yeah, let's, if you guys have questions, throw them in there. But yeah, we're just like right now, I'm just really the last couple of days have been, pretty good as far as like running and stuff. Like I felt like I've been able to, kind of like get back to a little bit of like feeling normal. Like it kind of took a little bit longer than I thought. Like, and I was just talking to Russell about this. We were texting back and forth the other day. He's one of those other guys that did that race with me, and he's been on this channel a few times, so you probably recognize the name. But we were just talking about how recovery was going and stuff, and I was telling him that I think I told you guys this too, that like mentally, I was ready to get back to training like in less than a week after the race. Like I just felt good. Like I felt like ready to start training again. Like I wanted to go out and run, and then I tried running like 4 days after the race, and it was just like just a terrible experience. It was not good. Like just lungs weren't there, heart wasn't there, everything. But then slowly, like it's been like just a few days after over 2 weeks, and I'm feeling pretty good again. Like yesterday I did a run, just 3 miles, but in the middle of it, I did a half mile interval at like 6:20 pace, which was pretty solid for like a half mile for what I felt like just 17 days, something like that after running 100 miles. And then today just did short 3 miles again, and felt great. So I kind of feel like I'm ready to start, getting back into the daily running. As you all know, I was on a run streak for 297 days, and then that ended at no business, afterwards. Yeah, feeling pretty good at this point. Feeling like I'm kind of ready to get back into just getting some training going again, and really looking forward to running every day again. I don't know, something like I don't think my body is reacting well to resting this much. I've been having like headaches every day. What's up, Erling? Thank you for subscribing to the channel. But yeah, just like headaches like every day. It's been really weird. Like I've been trying to drink as much water as possible. I think I mentioned that last time. Someone recommended drinking a lot of water. Like I'm probably dehydrated. And it could be like maybe I am still dehydrated. But I just feel like I'm drinking so much water. I'm trying to eat well, not getting enough sleep. In fact, I wanted to, I don't know if this is actually going to work out or not, to show on the screen. But I don't even know how to get to it. I'm on the Polar website trying to figure out where to find my sleep data, because there it is. Just had a little brain meltdown for a second. Cause 2 nights ago, like I just was being kind of dumb, and I took an Excedrin at like 8 o'clock, and it has caffeine in it, and then didn't sleep at all like that night. And I didn't check out the sleep data from that night. Actually, I'm not gonna be able to find it on the spot here. But yeah, just like haven't been sleeping very well either. So I think my body is trying to tell me that I need to start running more. So we'll see. I'm gonna get back into like more of a daily routine, getting back out at lunch and running. This week has been like, today has been like an absolutely beautiful day, and it's supposed to be like in the 70s Fahrenheit here in Indiana for the rest of the week. So that's going to be really good. But yeah, let's see who else we got in the house tonight. Oh, Mandy says, how's the treadmill hunt going? Okay. I don't like, I mentioned on the live stream last week that I'm really trying to figure out how to get myself a treadmill and where to put it in the house or something. Because this winter, training for the Cruel Jewel 100 that's going to be in May, hopefully, as long as races happen next year. 33,000 feet of vertical gain over the course of 100 miles is going to be pretty tough for someone in Indiana to train for. So I need to be getting on a treadmill like all winter. And typically that's not a problem because I just go to a gym. I just sign up for a monthly membership and just go for 2 or 3 months during the winter and do a lot of climbing on a treadmill, and it works out really well. Like that's what I did last winter. But this winter, that's not going to be happening with everything that's going on. So yeah, I really would like to get a treadmill. They're just expensive. So yeah, we'll see. NordicTrack makes some good incline ones, but Woodway is another one that I've been looking into. There's a couple others, but Age Only a Number says, greetings from Colorado. Happy to take my eyes off the election coverage. Happier listening to running stuff. Awesome. Well, glad to have you. Sarah O from San Francisco. Nice to have a break from politics. Are you thinking about doing another daily running streak? Good question. Yeah. I want to get back into it. The streak was fun. It was kind of, it added some stress, but it was like, it was kind of like a good and sometimes a negative thing. And I'll say it was mostly a good thing because it got me out the door. It was something healthy. I was, running every day it's a good thing to do. It's not it's not a bad habit. There's a lot of other bad habits that you could pick up. But there was some times where it felt like a chore, and that's the part that I didn't like about it. Like when running started to feel like something that I just had to do to check it off my list. Those are the days where I wasn't super happy about being on a running streak. But for the most part, it was a really great experience. And I think like most of the time, I didn't even think about the streak aspect of it. I just, it probably took 30 days. It probably took 30 to 45 days for it to become such a part of my routine that I didn't even think about it anymore. And it was just like, I'm going to run today. And there was no question about it. When I woke up in the morning, I knew exactly what I was going to do. Or if I was running during lunch, like it was just like, okay, it's time to go and put on my shoes and go. There was no option. It was just like, it was part of my routine. It was part of something I did every day. Like I said, it took about like 30 to 45 days for that to really sink in. But once it did, it was just like easy to make it happen for the most part. Like I said, there were some days where it felt much more like a chore than other days. But again, I don't think that's a bad thing. So I'm excited to get back into it, especially if I can get a treadmill and like put it in my garage or something like that. Like there's no excuse at that point. So it'll be that'll be good. But yeah, I'm planning on starting that up again. Who knows? Maybe it started today. Who knows? Yeah. So, okay. Here's a question from Robert Diaz. I've been watching a lot of your videos recently and I found your channel. I signed up for a Blood Rock 50-mile race, first ultra. Could you give some insight on what your first race was like? Oh, good question. So my first ultra was the Jackson County 50-miler in southern Indiana. I don't even know what year it was. I think it was probably 2016, maybe 2015. But it was a totally awesome experience. It was in December, so it was cold, which was like, there were some good and bad parts about that. Like my body, I feel like I do better in the cold than in the heat. I feel like the heat breaks me down a lot more. And in the cold, like there's things that you can do to warm up pretty easily. When you're in the heat and you start getting overheated, pretty much the only thing you can do to cool down is to stop, soak yourself, get ice, but you can't really keep going so much. Like even walking in the heat sometimes becomes almost unbearable if you get too far gone and you start getting dehydrated. But in the cold, like you can usually like keep yourself moving. So my body tends to do a little bit better in the cold, extreme cold versus extreme heat. So that was kind of a good first ultra experience for me because it was probably 30s, most of the 30-degree Fahrenheit most of the day. So it was like pretty close to freezing. But it was a wild experience hitting like that halfway point and being like, okay, I'm at 25 miles. Okay, I'm at 26 miles. Like this is a marathon and I'm still halfway done. But I had, a pretty good plan. I had plenty of nutrition. I had all the gear I probably owned at the time in a box at the aid station. The race I did was a 10-mile loop, so it made it very easy logistically. I think there's a lot of things that you can do as far as picking a race that can help you on your first ultra or first 100-miler. People don't love doing looped races. I don't love doing looped races, but they make the logistics so much easier for your first one, or if you're trying to do a race alone or something like that. So this race, it was a 10-mile loop. Came back to this camp area that had an indoor like lounge sort of place where they allowed us to put all of our stuff. And so we came back into the warm, like heated building, like every 10 miles. And it was a nice, really nice race, really well run. But yeah, it was every time, like every mile past a marathon, I was just like, I cannot believe I'm doing this. I can't believe I'm doing this. I can't believe I'm still moving forward. So yeah, I had, my brother came out and paced me for that one. So that was a really fun experience, to do together. But yeah, I would just say, surround yourself with some good people. Try to pick a good race, one that's logistically something that you can pull off, and go do it. So, Plots 33 says, I bit the bullet and bought a Peloton tread for winter training and getting some vert in Illinois. Awesome. That's actually one that I looked at. So let me know how you like that over the next couple weeks, couple months. Yeah, it's kind of, I think if this is the one I'm thinking of, it's got a pretty cool, like big screen on it and everything. So Jesse says, have you ever ran an ultra out here in California? No, technically not. No, I haven't. I've ran out in California several times, and I filmed 2 race documentary videos out in California, one at Western States on Camille Herron 2 years ago, and one last year at the Tahoe 200 with Rob from Training for Ultra. And I got a lot of running in during both of those. And then I went backpacking out in California for a week one time a couple years ago. My wife and I went, we went to, it was like maybe 15 or 20 miles south of Mount Whitney to this area called Cottonwood Lakes. And it was absolutely beautiful. Didn't really know much about the area. I mean, we researched a ton trying to figure out where to go. And we picked that area, and we spent 5 nights out there just backpacking, just camping wherever. We didn't have any plan really. We were just walking all day, and then we'd stop, set up camp, and then the next day hike some more, go see some stuff. So it was awesome. But never ran an ultra out there. Eventually one day I would love to obviously be awesome to run Western States or something like that. I've thought about, there's a Tahoe 100 race I've thought about looking into, signing up for that. I think that's the only, I've been out to California a couple times. But, Aaron Townsend, 83, says, I have a 100-miler in a couple weeks, Dinosaur Valley, and I was wondering your thoughts on the Olympus 4 in your last hundo. I ran Rocky Raccoon 100-miler in the Evo SG and thinking of changing. I would say if you're going to run a 100-miler in a couple weeks, I wouldn't change your shoes unless you've already ran a bunch in the Olympus 4s. Then go for it if you're comfortable in them. But I wouldn't change shoes, especially to a different brand a couple weeks out from a race. So hopefully I read your question right. Send me a follow-up question if I missed it. Graham Agnes says, hey Ryan, how many months or years did you run before feeling confident that you could tackle your first ultra? My journey into ultras was not it wasn't only running. Like I did triathlons and I did a bunch of half Ironmans and Ironman. And my first ultra, I had been training for triathlons for years before I ran my first ultra. So I wasn't ever like specifically training for to run ultras until maybe a few months or so before I actually ran my first one. But a couple years. I would say that, I don't know. I think everyone's a little bit different, especially, there's some people that go from a marathon to a 100-miler and they don't do anything in between and they're just fine. There's some people that have trouble jumping up in distances. So I think everyone's a little bit different. But yeah, I would say do things that excite you and do things that scare you. And don't be afraid to jump up in distance. Like I did, I did like a marathon in an Ironman, and then I did a 50-miler. So I never did a 50K until later. And then in between, like after I did 2 50-milers before I did my first 100-miler, and I never did a 100K in between there until later. So, yeah. Let's see. Age only number says, as an older newbie runner, I'm thinking about training with the run walk method. What's your example of method for increasing distance? Example 5K to 10K and beyond. So the run walk method is actually really good. That's like basically what you do in an ultra anyway. But when I, like with my athletes that I coach and everything, like especially like when we're like doing Ironman marathons and even ultras, even regular road marathons, I think it's a really good strategy to do a run walk method to get through aid stations and be able to drink, be able to eat if you're in an ultra. You're going to be doing a lot of walking, whether you want to or not, to get up those hills or mountains. But there's a lot of ways to do it. There's some, like some people would say, be very, very specific about it. When I did like Ironman, half Ironman, I was always very specific during those situations. Like for road races, I would start the run walk method from the very beginning. And I would typically do like 9 minutes of running, 1 minute of walking, 9 minutes of running, 1 minute of walking. Or if you were able to time them out at aid stations, do it that way. But if you're going to plan on doing that, starting from the beginning is actually a good thing for your body to get into that rhythm right from the beginning, rather than going out and doing a marathon and trying to run 10 or 15 miles and then start a run walk method, that actually messes with your body a little bit more than actually having it. Like you'll be able to run farther towards the end of the race if you do a run walk method early on, rather than starting when you're already like dead and needing to be doing it, basically. Bobby says, any plans for an FKT type run? I have toyed around with trying to do an FKT. There's a trail in southern Indiana called the Knobstone Trail, and it's like 49.5 miles or something like that, basically 50 miles. And there's no official like Strava uploaded FKT. If you go to the website, there's a guy who is actually a very stout ultra runner from Indiana. And he says that a couple of years ago, he thinks he did it in a certain time, but didn't have a GPS watch on him or anything. I totally believe him. But there's no like official like clock time on the FKT. So I've thought about doing that and just going out and seeing like what I could do on it. But it would be the thing where if I'm going to attempt something like that, I would really want to have a crew that can really push me. So this is probably not the best year to do something like that for me. Like, and I've thought there's some other shorter ones around. Like there's a trail here in town that's basically an exact marathon distance. It's a 13-mile trail, and you run the out and back of it, and it's a marathon. I've thought about doing that. One of my friends has the actual official FKT on it, and another one of my close friends is actually thinking about doing it. He's actually a really fast runner, so I'm just going to let him go get the FKT on it and then go do it later probably and see how fast I can go, because I definitely won't catch him. But yeah, I mean, I'm sort of like interested in those. There's a lot of people doing FKTs, like just making stuff up, and I don't know, like it is what it is. Like if that excites people to like make up, like link 2 or 3 trails together and call it an FKT, like that's fine. For me, like it would be something like I would want to go out and if I was going to attempt something, like an actual trail that like already has a fastest known time on it, so I could like see if I could like stack up against people that have done it. If there's anything competitive, like I probably won't be able to crack it, but it could be fun to do something like, you know, really like old trail that's been around for a while, like the Knobstone Trail. 50 miles is that's a good distance. Go out and try and do something like that on. Let's see. Lots of questions. Wow. Oh, hey. Oh my gosh. Okay. So Briston Rains, I remember you. I recognize you. Yeah. You've been here since 100 subscribers. Always said I blow up. Well, thank you, man. How do you see the future of this channel? Honestly, I can't see in the future. I don't know. Right now, I'm just having a good time putting together running videos, race videos. Live streams are really fun. I hadn't actually mentioned, I don't think I mentioned this at the beginning of the episode, but just today, I kind of like revived my podcast too. It's been so hard, like trying to, if you don't know, I have a podcast. It's called the Ryan Clayton Podcast. I've had it for a couple years, but the last like 12 months, I think I've uploaded maybe 2 podcasts, and I've gotten a lot of people asking me like, is it dead? Is it gone? Are you ever going to upload anything else? And it's just been really hard, to, honestly, to get around to it. Nothing wrong with it. I love podcasting. I obviously love talking about stuff, or else I wouldn't do this live show, or have a YouTube channel. But it's just, there's so, you know, when you start doing all this stuff, like there's just a certain amount of time in a day or in a week. I got into the Triple Crown documentary series that took tons and tons of time. So with all this stuff, the podcast was the one thing that kind of had to give. But recently I've gotten a lot of questions from people watching these live streams, like, why don't you just upload that audio to the podcast? And so that's what I started doing. Today I took the three most recent live streams, a couple that had interviews or like guests on them, and I put the first one up today, so you can go check that out if you want. It's the live stream that we did a couple weeks ago, October 13th or something like that, with Russell House. And then the next one that's going up, it's going live in 2 days. It'll be the one that was right after the No Business 100 with Stephen Kornhaus and Russell House. And then another one will go up on Saturday morning. That was last week's live stream. And then I'm going to take this live stream and I'm going to put that on the podcast next week sometime probably too. So I don't know, like I never really loved the idea of taking the audio from a video live stream and just throwing it on a podcast. I always thought that's just whatever. Like I would rather do like a podcast specific audio recording because there's a lot of things that you might miss by not being able to see the video, not being able to see the comments coming in, things like that. It might be, I was always afraid it'd be boring, just kind of like jumping around from question to question if you're just listening, like just on your earbuds while you're running or something. But we're going to try it. We're going to see it. Like like I said, there's been a lot of people that have been asking if I can just, why don't you just throw them on there? So I'm like, okay, fine. I'll just throw them on there, see what happens. So now you can listen to these live streams on Apple Podcast or Spotify, or is Google still a thing anymore? I don't think it is. But Overcast, like all of the podcasting services have it. Stitcher has it. What else? There's like 10 services that it's on. So you can find it anywhere you want. And you can listen to it while you run or just hang around the house, whatever you're doing. Let's see here. Good question. Haven Bowie says, what's an FKT? It stands for fastest known time. So typically it'll be like a trail, or a mountain climb, or, something that's like a specific distance, like a specific route, something like that. And you go out and you just run it by yourself, and you can record it on a GPS watch, and whoever has done it the fastest gets the fastest known time. And then it's actually recorded on this website called fastestknowntime.com. Oh, and thanks. There's a bunch of people that answered that question too. So yeah. Goku Runner says, is that a Polar on your wrist? Yes. This is a Polar Vantage V2. Polar sent this out for review, and it's really great. I really like it a lot. It's super light. That's the reason why I'm wearing it like all the time, pretty much. As far as all the other GPS watches I have are all like a little bit heavier. Polar Vantage V2 is really nice and light. Polar's ecosystem is great. My Apple Watch is actually in like California right now, being repaired. It's supposed to ship it back to me tomorrow. There's nothing physically wrong with it, but I installed the like developer beta a couple months ago on it. And when I was downgrading, apparently there's like a rare case that happens is that when you're downgrading from the developer beta to the Grandmaster release or whatever, sometimes things get stuck and not all of it. So anyway, with the Apple Watch, I had to actually send it back in. They had to like flash the hard drive and reinstall the OS on it. That should be delivered tomorrow, along with my new iPhone 12 as well. I had I had one iPhone 12 and then I returned it because I got a better deal actually from apple.com because I could trade in my broken iPhone XS Max and get $100 back. So it's good. So getting a new iPhone and Apple Watch tomorrow. So that should be really cool. Let's see. What other questions do we have? We got, let's see. Eric Ruman is thinking about getting a Polar OH1, thinking it would be more reliable than my Unite watch. Is it indeed better, or should I just get a chest strap? So I don't have the OH1. I know people that do and say it's great. I have a Polar H10 chest strap and it's awesome. Like the battery on it, I don't think I've changed the battery since I got it. I don't wear it for every run, but I do wear it on quite a few. And yeah, I think it's great. The chest strap is typically going to get you best battery life. Sometimes, I mean, most of the time they'll last for about a year. So you don't even really have to worry about it. A lot of people don't like how it feels. But for me, it's like, I don't know. I get kind of used to it. What's up, Arendelle? Thanks for subscribing. So yeah, I do think the OH1 is pretty accurate though. So if you're interested in it, it's probably a good buy. And I think that it's probably more comfortable wearing it like on your forearm, than a chest strap for a lot of people. So let's see. John, Marangello says, what is your food strategy going into a 100-miler? That's a good question. So before the race, I just try and make sure that I'm eating light. Not anything like I'm like pretty much plant-based, so I don't eat meat or anything like that. So I don't have to worry about like any of that kind of like heavy stuff, like sticking around or anything like that. But going into the race, like I just make sure I eat kind of like a nice, like easy on the stomach meal the night before and breakfast in the morning. And then during the race, for this most recent No Business 100, I had pretty much just gels the first 50 miles, Spring Energy. They're a lot more natural than anything else I've tried. They're not sugary gels. They're actually, most of it's like banana and rice. So they're really nice and easy on the gut, easy on the palate too. They don't like, after a while, like after years and years of taking the really sugary gels, I just couldn't do it anymore. So first 50 miles I did gels, and then in the middle of the night, I took a new flavored gel, and it just like my palate didn't agree with me. So then from then on, I pretty much started eating aid station food. And once you get past like 50 miles, like you're just kind of eating whatever you can, whatever looks good at an aid station, things like that. All right. Dalen Williams, what's up? Thanks for joining. He says, hi, Ryan. I'm a 19-year-old, highly active college kid who is just getting into ultra running with big goals. I'm running my first 50-miler late December. Any tips? Nice. Yeah, that's my first 50-miler was in December. I would say, like, depending on your experience, like if you've ran a marathon before, you'll be experienced up to the halfway point. And then after that, it's just going to be like totally new territory. So just take it and don't be discouraged. I would say one of the worst things you can do is think about how many miles you have left in the whole race, because it's just going to get you depressed from the first step of the race. So break it down into aid station mileage. If you know you've got 7 miles to the next aid station, then think about running the next 7 miles. Don't think about running the next 47 miles. Stay hydrated, stay up on your calories. It's really easy to mismanage your nutrition during an ultra. Everybody does it, even professionals. It's very hard to get your nutrition right. And you're going to learn a ton during this first race about nutrition, and then you're going to be able to apply some of that for the next one, and then you're going to learn a ton at that next race. So say go into it open-minded and just try and enjoy yourself out there. See, Alex Judy says, I noticed you said your favorite trail shoe was the Ultra Superior. Yeah, it is my favorite trail shoe. They are very thin sole shoe designed for 4-foot strikers. I have a pair. Do you have any shoe suggestions for running on roads? Yeah, I would say if you haven't tried the Ultra Taurins, try that. That's a really good place to start for road shoes. Goku Runner says, how long did it take you to edit that 100-miler video? I don't know. I wish I would have had a timer. I don't know. I would say probably somewhere between like 10 to 12 hours. I'm not positive. But it was definitely several sittings. It wasn't like I could just knocked it out in one shot. Kevin White says, are you going to eventually do the Moab 240? Maybe. Not next year. Definitely not. In the future, I would love to do a 200-mile race. The biggest hurdle, I guess, for me personally to do a 200-mile race is the time that it takes to actually do the race. I'm not afraid of the training. The training for a 200-mile race is virtually identical for a 100-mile race. There's really not hardly any difference. The things you're going to encounter in a 200-mile race that you don't encounter in a 100-mile race is severe sleep deprivation. But that's not really like healthy to train. So you're just going to experience that in the race. As far as the distance, you're not going to be up in your mileage anymore than normal. So I'm not afraid of the training aspect of it. I'm just the thought of spending 4 days on a race and then maybe like a day or 2 days on each side of travel. That's a massive commitment. Something that I'm not ready for yet. I still have so much to learn about running 100-milers that, eventually though, I do want to. I think, maybe in a couple years or something, that would be something that would be awesome. We'll see. Or if maybe my opinion will change sooner, but yeah, the biggest thing is just the time commitment, of the race. It's just such a huge commitment. So Nathan Tubin says, first he said hello, and then he said, what do you think, who do you think suffers the most in 100-milers, front of the pack, mid packers, or back of the packers? That is a good question. I think if you're talking about just sheer suffering, probably back of the, well, I don't know. There's probably no right answer to that question. Because the guys and girls running up front are they're really suffering for a certain amount of hours. Like, Carl Meltzer did no business in 19 and a half hours. And then like I was mid-pack, did it in 28 hours. And then there was other people out there that were there for 33 hours. And it's like, yeah, okay, he's suffering for 19 hours. But there's other people out there that were suffering for 33. And can you quantify how much suffering actually was experienced? I don't know. That's a good question. I mean, I think there's different, I think you could probably go I think you could probably go either way, but I would say being out there for a longer amount of time probably is harder than being out there for a shorter amount of time, but more intense. I don't know. That's what I would bet on. Oh, this is a good question. And maybe so everybody that's here, if you have any answers for Adam Tice here, throw them in the chat as well. This would be really interesting to crowdsource this. He says, what do you appreciate most about the volunteers at trail events? Oops, went away. I'm volunteering for the first time this weekend, and I'm told by the organizing team that cheering runners on really helps. Yeah. So depending on what you're volunteering at, if you're at an aid station, what a runner is looking for, you're going to be able to read them really quickly. Are they in a good place or are they in a bad place? If they're in a good place, they're just going to want stuff fast. They're going to want their bottles filled really fast. They're going to want specific foods really fast, and they're going to want to get out of there. I think it's always, I love it when one thing, this is, I don't know if a lot of people would say this, but something that really makes me feel great is when a volunteer says, do you have any trash? Let me take your trash and throw it away for you. I'm like, oh yeah, I do have trash. I never remember to take my trash out and throw it away. And so that's always nice. When volunteers are kind of thinking for you, but filling bottles, getting some food. If you see a runner that's in a bad spot, they're probably going to want to sit down for a few minutes, even if it's just 5 minutes or something. That can be a game changer for someone that's really having a hard time. And then, just getting what they need, making sure that every runner, knows that someone's there, looking out for them. It can be really depressing when if you're sitting at an aid station or you just walk into an aid station and you're suffering and no one says anything to you. No one asks if they can help you. You're kind of just sometimes you're totally zoned out. You don't even know what's going on and you don't know what you need. And, you're looking around and none of the food looks good and you're not thirsty. And yeah, I think just making sure that, runners know that they are, someone's there looking out for them is a good thing. And then, if you're not working at a station and you're somewhere out on the course or something, you're, it says, okay, so you add a timing mat. Okay, that's cool. So yeah, I would say just encouraging words and stuff. Tell people that they look great. I mean, even though we know we all don't, sometimes that's just nice. It's just nice to hear. Oh yeah, Stephen Walden says, I appreciate when volunteers at the aid stations tell me I look great. Yeah. Yeah, Mandy says, try to find something nice to say to someone, even if it's the color of their shirt. Volunteer efficiency is key, and when pouring water, please keep it in the bottle, not in the hand or the wrist. Oh, that's a good one too. Yeah, I've had very well-intentioned volunteers at races, lose focus and pour Gatorade all over my arm, which is whatever, we're all nasty anyway at ultras. So what's a little bit of Gatorade on the arm? But, yeah. So good answers. Good questions too. Let's see here. Before we, I wanted to show you guys some training stats. So I don't think I talked about this on any of the last live streams because I was interviewing people. But let's see if I do this picture in picture. Okay, cool. So there's my WKO. But we've also got, I'll switch over to Safari. This is my performance management chart for the year. As you can see here, like we kind of been reviewing this on the live streams. I think it's fun. But this was my build up to Cruel Jewel. And then that's when lockdown happened here in Indiana. So everything started getting canceled and blah, blah, blah. Same thing here. Summer was kind of chill, and then training up for No Business 100. But this is cool here. So this yellow line, if you guys can see that, that's your training stress balance. The pink line is the acute training load. And then this blue line is the intensity factor. So that's kind of like your fitness level. Right before a race, or when you're training for a race, you want your acute training load to be going kind of like up, and you want your training stress balance to be kind of low. There's also another screen I'm going to show you real quick, but right before a race, your training stress balance, if you use Training Peaks, you want it to be pretty much close to 20. And that's like, I hit 19 the day before the race, so that was like really good. The other thing I wanted to show you was in WKO. This is like a different type of training software. There's also this kind of like training readiness chart that we use. And I can switch right here to like the last 90 days. But this is really cool because this shows my chronic training load, and it gives me like areas where I'm like in optimal performance, optimal training, or overreaching. So these times where I like was dipping down was times when I was doing like really long like weekend runs, things like that. And then you can see like right before the race, I was starting to get into this fresh area. So I was like perfect. So I had like really good taper leading into No Business 100. And then this was the race right here, October 17th. And then this is my recovery. And just over like the last week, I've just started getting into this area where they call it the transition area, which just means that I'm really close to like being ready to like start a new training season or something like that, however you want to think about it. So that's really cool, and really like good to see like from a data perspective that like I'm ready to be, the body says that I'm ready to be done with this resting period. I've been just like so amped up to like start training again, but I've been trying to like take it slow and make sure that I just do it right and don't come back too fast. But I think I'm ready to start getting going again. And so over the next, like I need to set up my calendar, training calendar, because I'll be setting up probably like a 20 to 22 week training plan for Cruel Jewel 100. So like middle of May, that means somewhere in December, I need to be starting my actual training plan. So that'll be cool, like for you guys to follow along if you want to. And I'm going to do it like the same way I did last year, like kind of like loading the front of my training with kind of like the shorter high intensity sessions, a lot of like VO2 max work, a lot of just like stimulus that will help with training, but is not specific to 100-mile events. And then the closer I get to the 100-mile race, the more specific training will get, like longer runs, zone 2, zone 1, things like that. But I'm really excited for this block in like December, January. That's going to be just like hard, like VO2 max, like shorter sessions, longer recovery time in between. So really excited for that, but still kind of like in this transitional period where I'm just like not really training, just trying to let the body recover and get back to, just kind of like a place where I'm like really excited about training again. So yeah. But yeah, let's see what other questions do we have. Oh yeah, we got a lot of people talking about I had an Hawk Daddy says, at an ultra station, we had bacon and whiskey. Runners lost their minds. Yeah, that was actually, so at No Business 100, a lot of the aid stations had bourbon or whiskey along with water and electrolyte drink. So I forget what it was. Oh, it was called Sword was the electrolyte drink. I think I drank a little bit of that. I think I had a few bottles throughout the race, but most of what I was drinking was water. But that was pretty fun. So yeah. All right, you guys. Well, we're coming up on about an hour. So as long as, let me check and make sure that I didn't have any other notes about things I wanted to talk about. Yeah. Oh, another thing that I'm going to be doing a lot of is like stability exercises. So like kind of like single leg squats, like deadlift sort of stuff. Not like lifting weights, but more like body weight exercises to just help with the knees and help with the hips, get them ready for more training, more climbing, and just more like the pounding the 100-miler takes puts on your body. But I do that with the athletes that I coach, like we do once a week, and I should put a video together about this, about the like the training routine that we do. It's pretty simple, like takes like 30 minutes, but really works on the hips, mostly back, knees, all that sort of stuff. And like we use like kettlebells, dumbbells, things like that. But yeah, it's actually a good idea. I should probably put a video together like that for you guys and show you everything that we do once a week. I think that's really, really good too, for ultra runners, trail runners, marathoners. Even if you're, guys and girls that do shorter distances do a lot more of like that kind of like weight training stuff. Longer distances, sometimes you just don't think about it because you're trying to get as many miles as you can in every single week. A lot of times it just feels like we don't have a whole lot of time to do like the different types of exercises that are not running, but definitely help with taking care of your body and making sure that you're going to stay injury free for the season. Awesome. So Robert Diaz says a mobility pre-race dynamic stretching tutorial would be good. Oh, that's another good idea. Yeah. I actually have quite a bit of exercises that I do that I had from my physical therapy. So I should share that too. That's a good idea. So yeah, so that's where I think we're coming up right on an hour. So I'm going to end it here. For everyone that was here, that joined, thank you so much. It really means a lot to me that you guys were all here. Like this was, like we took an hour out of election day and just made sure that we didn't think about or talk about politics at all. And now we can go back to that craziness after this is over. But for the next couple days or weeks, however long it's going to take to figure things out. But hope everyone is staying safe, staying healthy. Hope you all are getting to run. I know there's a lot of people around the world that are kind of like back in lockdown. So for you guys and girls, I hope that you're just staying motivated and able to do something that makes you happy. If you have a treadmill, you're able to run on a treadmill, do some exercises, whatever keeps you sane. But yeah, hope that you guys are all doing well. Thank you all for joining. I'll see you all again next week. So that's it. Thanks. Bye.